Coming at you live. We are cooking in Kevin's kitchen. What do you got going on today?
Oh, we got something special. I don't know if y'all know this is the week, but yesterday our man Meatloaf passed away. So, sad day in rock history, man. That guy, I remember when I was a little kid listening to his stuff. So anyway, we're going to make meatloaf. So, I guess in honor of him, not just because his name's Meatloaf, but because it's meatloaf. So,
Right.
we are going to take this recipe all the way back, man, in the early 70s when I first started learning. I always talk on my channel that I learned from little old ladies. I learned a lot of my cooking from little old ladies. Anyway, this recipe comes from my grandma way back in the 70s. And way back then, we didn't have emails, of course, none of that kind of stuff. So you could sign up on particular brands' newsletter, let's say, and they would send you recipes in the mail. Well, this goes all the way back to when my grandmother used to do that. You have to pardon my machine. We're doing a double video today. I'm doing a video on banana bread, and that's to let me know to put my raisins in, so I'm finna put my raisins in there. Anyway, so we're gonna do meatloaf, but this goes back then, and what it basically is from Campbell's soup, okay? So this is basically an old recipe that they did way back when on a Campbell's soup card that sent to my grandma. And she made it ever since like that, and I have ever since too, because it just makes a wonderful meatloaf. It's got a couple little vegetables in it from the soup and all that. Anyway, we're going to go over our recipes real quick. No, you can do one meatloaf or two. I'm doing a double, so I can talk in doubles or singles. We're going to go over both, but it's real simple. So you're going to need 2 pounds of hamburger meat if you're making a single, or 4 if you're making a double. You're going to need 1 egg or 2 eggs. I want to show you my eggs here. These are from our chickens. This is from our duck. This is a duck egg, and this right here is a chicken egg. Look at the size of the difference. So I'm going to use a duck egg today. I'm going to use these are farm fresh eggs that we use here. And you're going to need about 2 teaspoons of salt. You're going to need about a tablespoon of garlic. This is for a double batch. You can put as much in it as you like. About a half a tablespoon of good table ground pepper. About a tablespoon of Lowry's. And then a medium onion if you're doing double batch, or a small onion if you're doing 2. You can leave out the onion if you don't like onion and stuff. I know there's a lot of people that don't like crunchy white onion and stuff. So you can put a tablespoon of onion powder if you'd rather do that, or just omit the onion altogether. But I mean, I wouldn't. I like onions in mine. It's totally up to you. But the onion is totally optional, however you want to do it. So, and then the only other thing we have is the topping. Most people know you put tomato sauce on the top. Got a little trick. I don't know if y'all know to open a tomato sauce can like this, or if you take the lid off on the can opener, you don't have to. You can go like this and it just pours out. I'm sure everybody knows that, but I'm going to go over that. And then we like to, because of the recipe, put ketchup on top of that too. So, and then we bake it in the oven at 350 for about 45 to 55 minutes. So, we're going to get started. I normally don't use gloves on my channel because it's just my kitchen and it's our food that we're eating. But with this meat here, it does put a lot of grease on your hands when it's cold, and then you got to wash all that off. So today I'm actually going to use some gloves. So let me put my gloves on real quick. And this is a real simple recipe. Again, I am not going to use measuring utensils for my spices just because I don't do that. I don't really need to. So we're going to put our onion in. We already have our hamburger meat. You can have it room temperature or whatever. We're going to go ahead and put our soup. Just regular Campbell's vegetable beef soup. It's got all the noodles and the potatoes and all that stuff in it. Now, if this was a single can, I would have a small one, or you can use 2 cans and a big one, but they have this new 30% bigger can. It's a lot bigger can. That's all I'm going to need for this recipe. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put my eggs in, because it doesn't matter. We're going to mix all this up anyhow. Oh, and I'm sorry, I did forget my crackers. We put Ritz crackers in it. You can use breadcrumbs if you like, pancos, whatever kind of breadcrumbs you like. It's best with Ritz crackers. You can put white crackers in there, but it's best with Ritz crackers. We got a double pack because we're doing 2 loaves. And then I'm going to start with my spices. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. Don't need too much salt for that blood pressure. And then about a good tablespoon of garlic. And we'll go 1 1/2 on that. I don't need the onion powder because I'm using onion. You don't have to go crazy on the pepper. About a good half tablespoon. And then a tablespoon of Lowry's is the only other spice you need. Lowry seasoned salt, or any kind of seasoned salt that you have. Good tablespoon of that. And then we're going to take our crackers. I go ahead and mash them up before I put them there because it's just easier. I just take my deal like that. Mash them all up. Look, and they're ready to go. They come right out of the package ready to go. You don't have to sit here and... A lot of people put their crackers in and have to mix and beat them up and all that. You use these small ones, man. Look, you just crush them like that. You got instant rich breadcrumb. One of the best ways to do it. If you had a big one, you know, you'd have to take them out and put them in a smaller deal. So I just like to get the small stacks that we have them now. I'm not going to need this until I'm loafing my at the end when I loaf it. So now what we're going to do is mix all this up. What I do is I like to start with my eggs, bust them up, and then just get to going. Up and over the top. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, this makes such a good meatloaf. Such a good meatloaf. It's moist, but it has those potatoes in it too, and then a little bit of vegetables from the soup. And it's just super, super moist and yummy. And I'm making a double because we will eat on it 2 days. And then one of my favorite things is leftover meatloaf sandwiches. So we're going to have sandwiches probably on that 3rd day for lunch. It's just how we just make sure you get it mixed up all real good. Got those nice Ritz crackers in there. Sure comes out yummy. Now I'm gonna bake. I'm gonna loaf these up, and I'm gonna put foil on one of them, and I'm gonna cook it tomorrow. I'm not gonna cook it today. That way it's fresh tomorrow. I'm only gonna cook one today. Anyway, I have my oven preset at 350, and we're ready to go. I'm gonna take about half. Look, it's 2 pounds, just about perfect. This one over here is a little bit bigger. That's why I didn't make it exactly half. Look at that. Just absolutely perfect on the measurements. Pack it down in there. Now, the only other thing you want to do is give it a place for the grease to go, so that when you pull it out, you can go to pour it off. You can do a turkey baster and suck the grease out and do it that way. But I make a little channel, and what I do is I just take it and I pour all that grease out at the end. Okay, so look here, I'm gonna make my channel. I guess that's a good ½ inch. You don't want to go too much deeper than that, right? And I do it even for the one I'm going to put in the fridge for tomorrow. Because what I'm going to do now is put my topping on it, and we're done. We should put this sucker in the oven. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and take my gloves off, just because I don't feel like messing with them anymore. And here's the neat part. You just take your little guy here, poke you a little hole so it can breathe. Do your big one, and you just pour it on the top. I'd already pre-shook mine. I don't know if y'all do that. Anytime I have a can of anything, corn, green, anything that's a can, I will shake it first, just to get all that stuff released. And I didn't have my spoon. Let me grab my spoon here. I'm going to go over the top like this, make sure it all gets coated. And then the ketchup, what it does is it thickens the whole top up. When it gets to cooking, it really thickens up, and so it makes it a better topping. And we use good old Heinz tomato ketchup, whatever kind you want, it's good. But you're just going to squeeze it. Let me show you. You're going to go just an S all the way across, like that. You see that? All the way across. Just in an S motion. You don't need no more than that. That's perfect. Okay? Look at that. Just absolutely perfect. Now, we got our oven set. In here, I already have my aluminum foil covered baking dish. Easier clean up mess, right? Because this could splatter and all that. So, no big deal. This is the one I'm cooking tonight. My stuff is ready to go. It's already hot. That way when I put the loaf in here, it's already warm, like sitting on the bottom of the oven. Put it right in the middle. And we're going to cook that sucker for 45 to 55 minutes, depending on how big your pan is. That was going to take like 50, 55 minutes. This was going to take about 45. It's a little bit smaller. Cooking the bigger one first. We'll have leftovers, and then we'll cook this one up for sandwiches. Boy, they make good sandwiches. So anyway, this is my grandma's recipe. Really not my grandma's. It comes from Campbell's Soup, but way back from the 70s. Good old meatloaf. Get you some. All right, we're at the end of our 50 minutes on our meatloaf. We're going to pull it out. You see I got my taters going for my mashed potatoes. Look at that. Like I said, the reason why I made that channel is so that grease strips runs off. And we're just going to wait till it cools off. We're going to let it sit here about 5 minutes. And we're going to slowly pour that grease out. We're going to hold it with a spatula and pour some of that grease out. And then we're going to serve up our meatloaf. I'm having mashed potatoes. I'm having corn, buttered corn. And I made a homemade loaf of just some good old white bread. We're going to have bread and butter, maybe some of my homemade jellies. And I made a loaf of banana bread we're going to have maybe a little later for dessert. And we will show you when we plate up. It is homemade meatloaf. Get you some in honor of Meatloaf.